right, in the studio with me, a very famous duo. Kind of like a dynamic duo. It's kind of like the Batman and Robin kind of thing, although wouldn't know which one to call Batman and which one to call Robin. So right now we have with us Bobbye and Tonilee in studio live. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
It's good to have you in the studio. We're going to be giving away tickets to their conference, the 11th Annual Power of Hope Women's Conference, taking place on the 30th. And the reason that they're on today is so that you can kind of get aware, get your brain around and go, wait, there's a conference? Yes. And then we're gonna have another time next week we're gonna get together with them because the conference is actually a week from Saturday. Here's a surprise they don't know about their own conference.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You thought you're just coming in here, right?
Yeah.
So my wife and I are going to be working the booth at your conference on Saturday. We're going to be sitting there for KPRZ.
Yay. That is awesome.
So we're going to get a chance to see you then too. So you'll be able to see me like 3 times, and if that doesn't give you a reason to get Pepto-Bismol, nothing will. Talk to me about the Power of Hope conference that's taking place on the 30th. Either one of you go first. Let's lay down some foundational.
You know, Dave, we're so excited about this event. Every year I say this is the best one, but this is truly the best one. And you just put the cherry on top by you and your wife being there. I mean, I thought it was good. Now it's just over the top great. But I think this 2016, as you were talking about it, you know, this is a year that we need hope. We won't even get into the presidential situation, the ISIS situation, the economy. We need hope that only comes in Jesus. And we know everyone listening knows people that need hope. And so we've assembled an amazing day. Kimberly Hunt from 10 News is going to be there, along with also Bill Griffith, who was on the air for 29 years. He suffered and survived male breast cancer. Him and his wife are going to be there. We have women coming to share. Dan Dimitri is our MC. The worship band from Foothills.
Wow. Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, it is just awesome.
You guys are putting, how many people, do you have an expectation as to how many people? I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you have any idea?
Maybe 1,200.
Wow. I was going to say more than 15. So it was kind of a more than 15 coming from here.
You know? Yeah, more than 15. Yeah. Me, TL, wife, yeah.
The first year, though, when I peeked through the curtain, I felt like it was 15 sitting there, you know, in the same room. So we've seen the faithfulness of God, which is funny. Is Bobbye always says, this is the best one yet. And I'm always saying, this is the last one. We're going out on this one.
That's enough. Gotta get it done here.
Lunch is from Subway.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that. And we want women to get there early because we've got free coffee, snacks. Doors open at 8 o'clock. We start at 9. Ticket price has not gone up in 10 years. It's still $25.
Right.
$25.
And we're gonna give away 3 sets of those tickets, or 3 pairs,
Yes,
so to speak, later on in the show. So that's the same price it's been for 11 years. You guys haven't changed the price once?
No, we haven't.
Wow.
No, you know, we pray about it every year, and God just keeps us on this $25 mark because with the economy, I mean, let's face it, the economy hasn't changed.
If Walmarts are shutting down, we know it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's a little tougher in certain places. All right, let's talk about the Power of Hope itself, because I think what happens is people think, well, okay, I'm getting into the new year and I want to have a good attitude about the new year and I want to approach things, you know, kind of on an upbeat, which means that you can't read a magazine, you can't go on the internet, you can't watch television, you can't listen to radio. Because if you do any of those things, it's going to be like Depression City.
That's right.
Where do people then get the hope? I mean, that's the key, right?
Well, I like what you wrote when we came into the studio. HOPE stands for Heaven Organizing Purposeful Events. Dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's true because even when you can't see through your circumstances right now, you do believe that heaven is involved.
That's right.
And that life on earth isn't just for this temporal period, it's for eternity.
And
That's
there's a
right.
purpose for it.
Yes.
And God is organizing the purpose. And that's what this event is going to help people really come to realize from the scriptures, from what God says. This is a true biblically based event.
Yeah, and I think what people need to recognize is that when you think of all the things that are going on, what people don't see is that there's an organization taking place that's beyond the scope of man's capacity to see. And what we have to at some point tap into God's perspective, not just our perspective. Go back to that Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. And all your ways acknowledge him, he'll direct your paths. And that lean not on your own understanding, that portion out of those scriptures are like, uh-oh. Because it's like you look at it, you think this is what it is, this is the assessment, and the assessment's usually wrong.
I know.
I mean, it's amazing.
And if you can keep your eyes on the Lord, or keep your eyes on the heaven-bound journey, God has the ability to move in ways that are miraculous. But because it's miraculous, it takes faith to believe that he's going to move at all. So it's easier just to get depressed. And we were talking this morning about self-pity, how we just, we get to the point that we just spiral into depression because of self-pity, of all the missed opportunities. Well, what about the verses that say, God can restore the years the locusts have eaten?
That's right.
What this event is about, hope. And not hope in hope, or hope that our prayers will be answered. Hope in Jesus Christ and what that means.
Yeah, and an active hope. So, I mean, one of the things that you guys bring up that I think is crucial for Christians to mindset in is if it doesn't look the way that you think it should look, that does not negate that there's things going on. If you want to reach the show, David Spoon at KPRZ.com. Bobbye and Tonilee in the studio with me right now. Don't forget, I am officially also known as David Lee. For those that do not remember, that's such a great story. I love telling that story because it's so funny. So funny. So we got a conference that's taking place January 30th. The conference goes from 9 a.m. to about 3:30-ish. Because it just depends on when the Holy Spirit's done. So nobody's going to tell the Lord, you're done. It's like that more that way. Brown Chapel, that's where it's at Point Loma University. For more information, you can, the easiest thing to do is to go to dailydisciples.org. That's just the simplest way. Keep it easy. You can also call them if you want to, get in touch with them at 800-992-0369. It's 800-992-0369. Again, the Power of Hope Women's Conference taking place Saturday, January 30th. So I want people to get that in their brain. It's the 11th annual conference. And the expectations, that's what I want to ask you gals, the expectations for this conference are...
That's an interesting question. I think everybody has different expectations. You have goals and there's expectations. And our goal is to really, it seats 1,500. We would love to have, in terms of numbers, we'd love to have it packed out. Not because of numbers, but because we know in our community there's far more than that. There's probably 100 times that of women who are hurting, who've had a really rough time in 2015 and maybe years before, and they need Jesus, and we know that. So it's just our expectation is to see God do miracles and to reach right now into the hearts and minds of everyone listening and just tap them and say, you need to be there, but more importantly, you need to invite others. And that's really what we expect. We expect to see God show up and do miracles.
That's
all right,
cool.
I have expectations. I just wrote them down as David was saying it. All right, I have an expectation for this to be a community outreach. So even though we kind of lay out the date and the agenda, the women of San Diego are reaching out to the community to touch other women with the gospel through this event. So as a result of that, we want to see souls saved, which we have seen for the past 10 years. This is our
every event you get to see somebody saved.
Yes, yeah,
wow.
People are saved. Rededication to the Lord and a new perspective. When God says a future and a hope, because it's the power of hope, a future and a hope, it gives us a perspective that we can have hope for our future. That's what this is. And so many women, even going across the nation last year, they said, thank you so much because I saw things a little differently as a result of this, and it gives me hope. So that's why we said, this year it's the power of hope. Last year, power of love. Now it's hope.
Yeah, that's really good. I've heard somebody say, and it's not mine, so I can't claim credit for it, but that faith is in operation for today, and hope is, in essence, faith that's in operation for tomorrow and beyond. Which is an interesting perspective. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's limiting, but it's got a good mindset to it. But to me, I go to Hebrews whenever I think of hope, and I think of hope as the anchor to the soul, like out of Hebrews 6. And I just think, that element in my life where the storms are going nutsy cuckoo, and I would prefer not to be in a rowboat that doesn't have any oars and it's going all over the. It's just like there's a stability factor.
Well, what's interesting about hope too, it's not a gift of the Spirit. It's not a fruit of the Spirit. I mean, think of the gift. There's the gift of faith. There's right, and then the fruits are love and joy. But what about hope? We talk about hope all the time, being Jesus Christ. You know, we're always being conformed into Christ. But hope isn't one of those things. It's only something that you get from the Lord directly, like in a daily relationship to go tomorrow. So yes, faith is today, in operation today. Hope is for operation for tomorrow. But mercy is to get out of bed to actually have the faith every morning.
Yeah, no, and that makes me think of, 1 Corinthians 13 is faith, hope, and love. And it's like, the greatest is love, and I don't think anybody is in question. But it shows you the level of where hope is at. Because it gives you this tier system. It's like people go, one's not more important than the other. Well, tell the Holy Spirit that, who told that to Paul. So from your guys' perspective, when you prepare to do a conference, will you do anything? This is this week, and it's not this Saturday, and then next week's going to come. We're going to get together again. But then are you going to do anything different? Do you do anything different in your routines, in your time with the Lord, in your study, in your preparation that leads up to a conference?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do a lot of studying in the Word. Like just this morning, I said to Bobbye, I know what we're going to teach in the morning. And then even driving over here to the studio, I said to Eddie, our video guy who's with us now, and Bobbye, now it's time for me to start praying differently. Now it's time for me to almost get angry in prayer, to say to the Lord, you've got to shake up these people, arouse these people to come, to reach out and ask others to come. Because the enemy can come in so subtly and just go, oh, I'm too tired, or oh, I can't do it, or oh. And he does that to us too. We're putting on the event. We say those same things. So we know that until we can get on our knees in prayer to have our prayers reach the heavens, that's when we will see heaven open up at this event. So it is time to start really, really
And next week we definitely prepare for the battles. The warfare is intense. And we were saying how this is 11 years, and it's by the grace of God. That's a miracle in itself. Not many people step out to do this. We put our faces on the line. We put our reputations on the line. We stick our necks out, and you do it every day on the radio. I mean, we're always out there. The enemy just takes his shots at us, the fiery darts. So I prepare by really in prayer, preparing for the battles that will come all the way up to the event and through the event. But not just for us, but for the women coming.
Yes.
It's a war. It's a battlefield. Mm-hmm. It's an ongoing war,
and we're in it together. So we want to be together.
That's right.
Day.
Right. Now that makes sense. Because to me, the enemy, when he goes after people who could benefit for something along these lines, in my brain, limited but it works, is that it's usually distractions, or the littlest things that tries to sidestep a person. And people are like, oh, it's not the enemy, it's just a distraction. It's like, yeah, but the distraction led you away from kingdom advancement. How is that not the enemy?
That's right.
I mean, it's just like you gotta and again, it's to me, it's an active and it is a war. So that's got to be challenging. Let me ask you this question, because this is the one that, you don't get a lot of discussion on this. So you go to a conference and you get encouraged, and you get some good teachings, you get some great fellowship, you get worship, and then there's prayer, and everybody's kind of like in sync. And then it's done, and you go home, and you wake up on Sunday, and you're still feeling a little bit of the sunshine and the rays, and so on and so forth. Then you get to Monday, and then the blue, the drop down takes place. Does that happen for you guys when you end a conference and let's say successful, went well, did what we wanted, that was great, and this was good, recap, that was really great, and then you get into the more like, ooh,
where's the honeymoon?
Now we're done.
Great wedding, but we had no honeymoon.
Do you go through like a deflate period?
Well, I do pretty much the minute I walk home, because you've got to fill the dishwasher, and you realize what a mess you made your house on your way running out to this conference, and so reality hits you as soon as you walk back in the door. But I think when it comes down to it, we have to practice what we preach, or we can't do this every year. And so we've had to learn to take the emotion out of it. And like your hope jingle, heaven organizing purposeful events, you have to say, this wasn't me, this was the Lord. And he asked us to do this, but the results are up to him.
Right.
And you have to like live in that place. Like not only maintain and claim your own peace, but sustain that mindset that this is God's and he does the work. We were just participants.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's not just the right attitude by itself, but that's the right disposition to have, especially when you're ministering at those levels.